Progress. Hi, my name is Bella Luna, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a spiritual life coach, healer, mystic, transformational facilitator, and radical self-love advocate. And I'm also a little nuts, if you can't tell, but good nuts. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about self-trust, but in particular about trusting the hard-won lessons. So I have spent a lifetime gathering data on myself, my likes, my dislikes, my triggers, my joys, my reactions and behaviors to different situations and stimuli, what supports me in different situations and what doesn't, what types of people fill me up and what types of people drain me, the environments that support me and those that don't, my beliefs and teachings that resonate and those that don't and that I just, disregard. And a great many of these lessons were not easily learned. Many of them were gained through trial and error, through making the same mistakes over and over again, through deep trauma and doing the hard work to learn myself. But so often do I forget this hard-earned knowledge and not trust what I know to work for me? To trust what I know helps me and what hinders me. And so often do I doubt this knowledge, this wisdom, because so often I forget to trust myself, my journey and my experiences. I found it a lot easier to trust myself though when I looked at it from a more practical perspective. And for those of you that have been in my world for a while, you'll know that although I am a mystic and a deeply spiritual person, I was first of all a very scientific and practical person. And these parts of me are still so often forefront in my approach to life and healing. So instead of thinking of it as trusting myself, I thought of it as trusting the data. I know, super sexy, right? So the data of my life that I've collected through a lifetime of trial and error and some incredibly hard-won lessons, trusting this data. Accepting these lessons and trusting my knowledge is a massive act of self-love. And to show myself how much I value my own knowledge and wisdom, I have created the Bella Manual. So it sounds a bit serious, but really it's just another form of journal or notebook. Or if you want to go super witchy, it's a personal grimoire or book of shadows. So this manual is a document where I've begun to keep note of all of the useful and hard-earned lessons that I have gathered throughout my lifetime. It's a working document, meaning that it will never be finished, and I will be adding to it and tweaking it for the rest of my life. And to make it even more of an act of self-love, I've turned it into a proper document with a pretty title page, a contents page. I've used nice fonts for the headings and I've laid it out all neatly, as opposed to just writing it down on some scrappy, note paper, which will likely get torn and stained and I'll just eventually lose it. So it's completely up to you and your personal life and lessons as to what you put in this manual. You're a complete, unique being after all, and therefore your lessons are likely to be different from mine and from other people's. But I do have a few suggestions to help you get started if you're a little confused about what the hell I'm on about. So one of the sections I have in my manual is dedicated to my triggers. In my previous video entitled How to Heal Your Triggers, I go into this a little deeper, but in this section, I write down what happens to me on a physical and emotional level when I'm triggered, a list of all the situations and things that are likely to trigger me, and what supports me in these different situations. One of the ways this has helped me is now when I get triggered, I have this observational perspective that I go into that's standing by gathering the data and is ready to pop it in the manual when I'm out of my triggered state. Meaning that the data isn't lost and forgotten, giving it more meaning to each painful experience that I go through. So when I'm having a triggered or emotional experience, I'm like, there's part of me that's taking note and being like, this is great, because now I've got more data to put in my manual to support me when these things happen again. I also have a section called supportive practices. And this is where I collect all the different tools, practices, methods, modalities that support my healing journey and in which situations they work best. This way, I don't have to remember all the different tools that I use and that I like. I can just open up the manual, skim to the list, and pick the one that I want to use in that moment. So some tools work better in different situations and others in other situations. So instead of having to remember all of this in the moment, you can just be like, I'll check the manual. Okay, that's the practice that works best for this situation, so I'm going to use it. And then eventually after doing that, you'll just have the list in your head and you won't even need to open the manual at all. Another section I found very useful to add is one about my ideal physical environment and how I respond to different physical environments. So safety and the feeling of being safe, secure, and comfortable is huge for me. So dedicating a whole section to my physical environment, my safety foundation, has helped me get clear on how to create the most stable physical environment to support my emotional stability and to help me thrive. I also think that a section on health and well-being is always a good idea so that you can gather data on what helps you maintain optimum physical and emotional health. How much sleep do you need? What types of food are best for your constitution, your activity levels, what supplements or medications support you, and anything else that helps you maintain a healthy mind and body. Adding information on your relationships can also be super supportive too. You might want to break those up into romantic and non-romantic relationships because those are really quite different. So I would add into this section what types of people lift you up and what types of people drain you. What characteristics you want in a romantic partner and those you don't. What are your non-negotiables? Maybe even going as deep as how you expect to be treated by your loved ones. That could be great to add in there too. So getting clear on these different aspects of your health, your triggers, your environment, your relationships, these can be super supportive in creating strong boundaries about what you are open and available for. Now that you know the specifics of what works for you and what doesn't, you are more easily able to navigate life in a supportive and healthy way while recognizing when you are crossing your own boundaries. After all, you can't argue with the data, can you? It's data, it's like fact. So if self-trust is a challenge for you, if you often forget or even doubt your hard-won lessons from your own lifetime of experiences, then begin your own manual today to support your journey. I found it really, really helpful. Every time I write something down, my understanding and awareness of it deepens, and the more I read the manual, the less I have to read the manual, and the more it's just ingrained into me. So eventually, obviously the new stuff that you'll keep adding will take longer to remember, but the older stuff will just be in there. So when you have a moment that you need to be like, oh, consult the manual will actually just then be in your head, and you won't need to open the physical manual as often. So it will be just a manual stored in your own consciousness that you can just call upon when you need support in your life. So as always, if you have any questions or want to share your experiences, please comment below. I always love to hear from you. But that's it for me now. So much love and infinite blessings, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.